Ever get that feeling like you're pushing against something you can't even see, like something's holding you back? We're going deep on that today. Generational curses, spooky stuff.
Definitely a little bit spooky.
Right. Our source this time, it's a YouTube video. Did you know God curses people and nations? By Derek Prince.
Okay.
And right away I'm thinking, God, like capital G God, curses people. What's that about?
It's something people think about a lot, not just in this video. Lots of cultures, lots of religions, they've got ideas about what happens when you disobey, like higher power.
Yeah.
Divine law, they call it.
So less about God being mean, more about what, like consequences?
Exactly. Like, think about gravity.
Okay.
Doesn't matter if you meant to jump off that cliff.
Yeah.
Gravity's going to gravity.
So spiritual laws then? What
Right.
are there rules we got to follow? What's the deal?
Well, Prince, he really focuses on those first 2 commandments, the big 10.
10 Commandments. Gotcha.
Yeah. And especially idolatry.
Yeah.
Anything you put above, well, a higher power.
So not just bound down to statues then, right?
Right. Way bigger than statue. Anything you're consumed by. More important than your values, your beliefs, could be money, could be your job, even relationships, you know.
Hold on, you saying my coffee obsession, that's like an idol?
Maybe that's what's interesting about these old ideas. They still fit today. It's not the coffee. It's if it takes over, if it's bigger than everything else. Then you got to ask, what am I really after?
Okay, now this is hitting a little close to home, but you're right. We think idolatry, that's old-timey stuff. What if it's even sneakier now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone's telling us, get rich, be famous, all that.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, right? With influencers and ads and all that, maybe we're more susceptible than ever.
Now that's kind of scary. But before we go too far down that road, this whole consequence thing, echoing through generations, that's what I want to unpack.
Yeah, that's generational curses. The
Yeah.
idea that what your ancestors did, even way back, it's still affecting you. Like ripples, spreading out. Your great-great-grandpa messes up. You might still be dealing with it.
Okay, hold on a second. Generational curses. So is that it then? Are we all cursed? What are we supposed to do?
Not exactly cursed. It's not about being scared. It's more like understanding how the past can, how it affects us now. Think about like your family.
Okay.
You get your looks from them, right? Your eyes, your height. Maybe you get sick the same way they did.
Yeah, genetics makes
Yeah.
sense.
Generational curses, it's saying maybe you inherit other stuff too. Like how you act, what you think, even how your relationships go. Not saying it's destiny, but our families, they're a big part of us, even if we don't realize it.
So it's like my grandma, she made this amazing apple pie, right? I got the recipe, but what if instead of pie, it's like I got her temper or her bad luck?
There you go. And just like that recipe, you can change it. Keep making the same pie. Or, I don't know, add something new. Your own twist.
I like that. So it's not hopeless. But if we're talking about these patterns, these things we inherit, where do they come from? We talk about idolatry, but what else makes these curses happen?
Prince talks about the occult, like fortune tellers, Ouija boards, stuff like that. Trying to find answers or power, from somewhere other than...
From somewhere other than God.
Right.
See, that stuff, it's always seemed kind of creepy to me. But I can't lie, I'd love to know what the future holds.
Everyone would, I think. It's natural. But the way Prince sees it, even if it seems harmless, that kind of stuff, it takes you away from God.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this story in his video about a guy who couldn't speak in tongues.
Really? Can't speak in tongues.
And Prince, he says because the guy, he went to a fortune teller once.
Seriously? Just from going to a fortune teller? Wow.
That's what he says. He says even small stuff like that, it can have consequences. Blocks you. Spiritually is how he puts it.
Okay, that's pretty wild. So no fortune tellers, got it. No idols. What else are we supposed to avoid? More importantly, how do we get rid of these patterns? Even if we don't know, like, where they came from.
That's the thing, right? How do you fix it? He doesn't really give you a list or anything. But he does say, you got to know what you're dealing with. See the pattern. Figure out where it came from. That's the first step.
So like dragging all that old baggage out into the light?
Yeah, something like that. And then this is where a lot of, spiritual traditions, they talk about repentance, asking forgiveness, not just for you, but for your family, your ancestors, all of it.
Taking responsibility for that pie recipe, even if you didn't invent it yourself. But what if you don't know the recipe? What if your family history, it's kind of a blank space?
That's tough. Some people, they find looking into their family tree helps. Even if you don't find like specific answers, just learning about where they came from, what their lives were like, it can give you some clues.
Like piecing together a puzzle, right? Trying to make sense of it all. But even if we do figure out the puzzle, even if we know where it came from, how do we actually change things?
Everyone's different. But it usually starts with deciding to do things differently. Maybe that's therapy, maybe it's praying, maybe it's just like making better choices, whatever works for you.
So no quick fix, but you can rewrite the recipe one step at a time.
Exactly. The past, it matters, but it doesn't control you. You can always choose something different. And when you do, you're not just changing your life, you're changing things for your kids, your grandkids, all the way down the line.
Now, that's a powerful thought. It's bigger than just us, isn't it? It's about what we leave behind, the impact we have.
Makes you think, huh?
It really does. This whole conversation, it's been, wow, pretty amazing, actually. So, anybody listening, if you feel like you're fighting something you can't see, like you're stuck, maybe this is the push you needed. Go look into your family history. Figure out what patterns keep popping up in your life. And don't forget, you've got the power to change things, not just for you, but for generations to come.